Hello. Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me think of a better one.
It's hard. I told you it's hard.
You know I'm going to leave that in because it's my character. Hello, people of the internet that are so loyal to us and subscribe and listen to our podcast. You are being rewarded. You are being rewarded with an interview of one of my favorite artists that I've been listening to. I want to say recently, it's been about 2 years. We are talking with the Luna Aura, as I say in the interview. Absolutely incredible interview. She is just so awesome. I know we say that every week, but
They're
it's
all
true.
Awesome. We wouldn't interview them if they weren't awesome. So.
No, we probably wouldn't release the track if they were not awesome. But if they're awesome, you're going to hear them. And this is no exception. Yeah, so we're going to kick it over to the interview with Luna. I am Beth Ann.
And I'm Leah.
And this is She Will Rock You.
Where are they getting a dub in a CBS executive meeting?
No. Bitch, don't touch my thermostat.
The ghost be like, hold up, before I haunt you, let me turn down the thermostat. Who is this band?
We're on page 1, guys. This is She Will Rock You.
So I have the great honor of having Luna Aura on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. How about you guys?
We are doing good. And I
We're
have
so
to say,
excited.
we are very excited. I love your music. I know Leah
Thank
loves your
you.
music. So we're longtime listeners, first time interviewers.
Yay!
So tell me, how did you arrive to being the Luna Aura, if you will?
The Luna Aura.
The Luna Aura. It's
should just
the
get a
adds
shirt
the
that says that.
significance.
Yeah. Are you going to make me a shirt that just says The Luna Aura on it? Cool.
You know,
I'll wear it.
I see it in the Joan Jett font. It has
hell
that
yeah,
little
there you
arc
go.
to it. Yes.
That's amazing. Okay, so how did I get here? Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been making music. I've gone through like all the ebbs and flows of like trying to figure out who I am as an artist and like find my voice and what it is that I'm trying to express, because I think I've always had like a gift for singing and for songwriting, but like it took me a minute to get to a place where I finally felt like, okay, this is my voice. This is what I want to say. This is who I want to be. And this is how I want to present myself to people. So this last EP that I released, 3 Cheers for the American Beauty, which I released almost a year ago. It'll be October 2nd will be a year.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It doesn't feel like that. But that to me is a piece of art that truly represents where I've ended up and like my answer to those questions. You know, it's about empowerment, about owning my body, owning who I am as a person, being proud of myself, and like not letting people sort of condition me or guilt me into being something that I'm not comfortable being, which is something that I feel like a lot of women, especially in the music industry, have to deal with, you know, being put into these little tiny boxes. And
Yeah.
that EP for me was just me like kicking down all the walls and being like, this is who I am, you know, deal with it and suck it, you know.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. I mean, we can end the interview there. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But let's talk about the music since we're all here. Yeah, stellar kick-ass EP.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love it so much. It has been on my playlist for the gym because I also want to feel like fuck you to everybody else when I'm working out. And
Yes.
it's the perfect music for it. What can
Great.
I say?
I'm so happy I can inspire that in you.
Absolutely. And also like the aesthetics, I have to point this out, the aesthetics behind it, chef's kiss. Like
Thank you.
me and Leah come from the marketing world, so we live for a theme done
awesome.
right. So it's amazing. But I want to talk a little bit like about your sound, because when I listen to the EP, I hear like grunge, I hear 2000 alternative, a little bit of that industrial rock, almost Nine Inch Nails world. But instead of me just talking about your sound, I really want to know, like, did you have any goals or like almost decade influences or just influences in general that you're always looking to weave into your work?
Yeah, I mean, I come from pop music, like loving pop music. When I first started my project, I was the music industry was a very different place. That's when it was like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift, and you know, it was very like pop, pop, pop. And I sort of felt like, okay, well, this is my thing, right? I'm a young girl, labels saw me as this young, cute girl that was a good songwriter. So they were like, there you go, pop music. That's perfect for you. And
Yeah.
I've always had a lot of pop sensibility in my writing, but I think there was a huge part of me that was missing when I was doing that. And it was kind of my angst and my truth and my power. I would like perform my songs live when I was writing pop music, and it would just, the disconnect was just too strong. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I had way too much energy for someone who was like singing sad, sappy love songs. And so I like kind of just stopped making music altogether, and I just started listening to the stuff that really truly inspired me. And one of the first songs that I listened to that I was like, okay, I can get behind this, as far as like finding my own sound, it was Celebrity Skin by Hole.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something that song does to you when you listen to it. It's just like it does something to your body, and that was what I wanted to create with this EP. I wanted to create a vibe and an energy that just didn't quit.
Yeah.
And then I went back into listening to, I loved Shirley Manson, so Garbage, Hole, Nine Inch Nails, just like you said. Like I studied up on Nine Inch Nails again, because this is all stuff that I listened to growing up in the 90s, and
Sure.
was always listening to alternative radio stations, but it was never something that I thought was for me, because I was already sort of putting myself in that little, like, that nice pretty little box with a bow on it, and I wasn't even allowing myself to step outside of it and ask myself like, well, these are the things that make you happy, this is the stuff you love listening to, like why can't you make it too?
Yeah.
So with the EP, I worked with JT Daly, who has a phenomenal ear for 90s music. He is a brilliant producer, and I was able to just walk into a room and be like, let's do something that's kind of like Nine Inch Nails today. And I didn't have him like turn around and look at me like I was an alien, because I had so many producers do that prior to working with him, because they were just like, why would you want to make stuff like that? That's just weird. And it was during a time that no one was doing it either. I mean, I feel like rock has definitely started.
Yeah.
It started coming back. You can see it a lot. A lot of people have a lot of like early 2000s influence right now with their rock music, but that was like back when no one was doing it in 2019. So
that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple points off of that, but the first thing I have to address, it is wild to me that some producers would be like, why would you want to do Nine Inch Nails when Trent Reznor is literally like getting Oscars right now for his scores? But okay, that's fine.
I think the issue was they would look at me, right, and they would see me, and then they would think about Nine Inch Nails, and they're just like, that just doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're talking about, right? Because I'm half Mexican. You would never be able to tell because I'm so pale, but I'm pasty. But I'm like this like small little 5'2" white girl that like, everyone's like, what are you talking about? You should just like talk about love and like your boyfriend, because that's like what girls like you talk about, right? And I had so much more inside of me, and so much like anger and angst and growing pains that I needed to express. And it was really hard to find a producer that understood that. And walking into the room with JT, it was like no questions asked. He was like, cool, let's do it. And magic happened.
Yeah, because it's interesting what you were saying when you started in the industry. Yeah, it's very compartmentalized. And I feel like we are now just seeing, like, as of this year, those boxes kind of being opened to let different genres kind of flow together. Mm-hmm. And so it is giving more opportunities to saying, yeah, I want to incorporate some Nine Inch Nails into my music. Let's do it.
Yes. And now it's a cool thing to do that. It wasn't cool when I first started doing it. It was still very left of center when JT and I made our EP together. But now it's like normal. Now everyone's like referencing, Blur and Nine Inch Nails and Rage Against the Machine. And now it's like becoming popular again. But at the time, I really felt like I was like, damn, we're like doing something kind of cool here. Which we were. It. I'm super proud of it.
You were ahead of the time. And talking about the music, I mean, I love, and this kind of goes off that Nine Inch Nails and Rage you were saying, there's like a certain distortion to the music. And there's this like almost crunch sound with the guitar, the way it's being, EQ'd up. And like, your vocals are so bold. I mean, it reminds me of like your lyric from Honey. I knew you weren't ready for a girl like me. It's like, yeah, you're damn right. You're not ready for this. Cause it's like so, your music is just so, that message resonates through the instrument and creates this such unique experience for the user. So it's a big accomplishment. Everything
thank you.
you're
I
saying.
appreciate that. We, as far as like the EQing and like, you know, that sort of crunchiness that you hear, we definitely took from Sleigh Bells as well. That sort of bit crushed feel for Honey was inspired by a lot of Sleigh Bell songs.
I love that. And so tell me about like the process though of actually like forming that music. I know you talked a little bit about Sleigh Bells. Was there any other like ways that you were like, how can we get this really unique sound into it?
Yeah, my goal was to take tones and sort of, I guess, tones and sounds from the 90s era, but modernizing it in a way that, you know, a 12-year-old girl could listen to it or a 12-year-old boy could listen to it and be like, this is so cool. Like, I've never heard anything like this before. And I think we accomplished that with the EP. I think the whole EP itself is very aggressive, which there's a whole story behind that, because I was like at a point in my life where I was like really sick of the bullshit and people telling me what to do and who to be, including people who were very close to me that I cared about.
Yeah.
And for me, that was just like, that whole EP was written in 5 days, and it was just a word vomit session of me just being like, that is it. I'm done. I'm putting my foot down. I'm deciding who I am, and I'm choosing to do that today. And Honey is just an example of that.
I love that. Yeah. I wrote down a question, then I took it out, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was going to say, like, for this whole album, I almost want to say, who hurt you? Who do I have to beat up? Who do I need to handle? Because that rage does come through it, but I didn't want to like read between the lines and just assume.
No, definitely. I get a lot of people, when I say people, I get a lot of men calling my music man hating music, which is funny because like I don't really refer to anyone as he or she or anything except for in Baby Doll, which is about a very specific story.
But if the shoe fits,
I mean, it's like, you know, it's
true.
I never have women come out and say like, oh, this is man hating music. It's always men. And I love men. I do. I grew up with, you know, all boys. I was the only girl for the longest time. So like I get along with men, you know, a lot of the time better than women, because it's just what I'm used to. It's what I grew up with.
Sure.
But I do think that men tend to have tendencies to be morons. So
they do.
Shoe fits. The shoe fits.
This is an example of one of those things, is dudes coming after me being like mad that I write music and that I am expressive and I say things that I want to say. But the best thing about it is that I've never written specifically about one person. It's always just been this like force that I'm up against. So, you know, in Honey, I'm not necessarily talking to a guy or a girl being like, oh, you think I'm cute, but like I can mess you up, like don't mess with me kind of situation. It's me talking to like the music industry as a whole. It's me talking to society as a whole. It's me talking to this force that I've had to live with since I was a little girl, and that this sort of current that I've had to swim against. Like that's who I'm talking to. It's not a man specifically. It's an idea, it's an ideal, and something that I feel like our society has adopted and women have just sort of had to deal with and have been conditioned with. And so this is me sort of fighting back on that.
100%. I mean, we talk about it on our podcast, even like, you know, just a tiny bit of history for me and Leah's podcast. You know, we're in a very niche rock history that is predominantly male.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Old white men. Yeah. Not to make a generalization, but that tends to be what the case is. And it's amazing, just like whenever a woman tends to take that space, it turns into this big thing that it doesn't need to turn into. But it's still like, it's amazing, like just the criticism. We've been fortunate, we haven't experienced that much criticism, but just the criticism that can come with it. And I'm sure as an artist, like it is 100 times fold of what we even get maybe a drop of once in a while.
Right. Well, I do think that women who speak their mind can be perceived as a threat, especially from people who like the status quo. They like the way that everything is, and they don't want to see anything change, because comfortability is easy and change is uncomfortable and hard. So I knew going into this that I was going into an industry, especially in rock music, that was not geared towards me. But more importantly, to me, it's not geared towards any women. And I think that that's very unfair. And I think that that's something that needs to be discussed more, because women feel rage too. They feel anger. They feel emotions outside of just a relationship sense. And they deserve to be able to enjoy rock music the same way men have been able to enjoy it for decades.
Yeah. And I mean, we forget that rock and roll was started by a Black queer woman, and yet the whole space has been almost like absorbed for one audience, and there's been a lot of gatekeeping. So I hope music like yours really starts breaking down those gates, because I'm personally fucking sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to be, on my side of things, especially, when I'm old and on my deathbed. I'm going to look back and be thankful that I put up with all the bullshit that I had to put up with. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what, my music and my ability to perform my music live will always overshadow any sort of doubt or I guess any kind of negative opinion that someone might have about me being in the rock world and in the rock space. And like, me being successful just means that I worked 10 times harder than the person next to me to get there. So, that's something I can be proud of. And I want to make music for women too. I'm not just, making rock music so that I can play for a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
In a venue. Like I want dudes to be able to bring their girlfriends with them. And, I want women to be able to come out and have something to be proud of too in that space. And I think a lot of the time in rock music, it can be turned violent, and it creates an unsafe space for women to be there. So for 100%. Just like, Kathleen Hanna has said this exact same thing, that music doesn't have to be violent. A music space and a venue should feel like anyone can be there, Amen. And if people are like throwing elbows and like being violent. So I like a lot of the time at my shows to like remind people, it's okay to have a good time and to have fun. But to keep it chill and safe so that women can also enjoy the concert.
Absolutely. That's such a good, reminder that we need to have safe music spaces, especially for women, because it is, as the gatekeeping, as like someone who's, me, who's a little bit in the metal scene, there's tons of that.
Yeah, exactly. And I grew up going to metal shows and hardcore shows and all of that.
Warped Tour.
So I know exactly what it feels like to be that girl in the back that's like, oh my God, like I would love to be up there and enjoying the music with everyone, but I'm also like not trying to get my nose broken. So.
Please don't mosh around the 5'2" people. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
There is some truth to that. Well, I wanted to ask really quick before we move on to, because I had a quick questions about your recent show that you did, but lyrically there's this, because we were talking a little bit about your lyrics, and you could definitely tell you don't hold anything back, like, and I love that. And is there like a lyric on the EP where you just go, fuck yeah, I wrote that?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite song on the EP definitely has a line that I'm very fond of, which it's, I'm not your little girl, I'm not your friend, can't tell me who I am, can't tell me shit. And that was like my rage moment, that when we were creating that, we absolutely were thinking about Zach De La Rocha and Rage Against the Machine, because he has those moments a lot of the time in the songs to like repeat a thought so that it's like ingrained in the listener, and and then it becomes the listener, and then the listener wants to scream it too. And just to say the line, I'm not your little girl, I think is super powerful, because I mean, how many times do you have like men screaming, "I'm not your little girl" at a show?
It's amazing.
I love it.
It is fun to watch them do it.
I love it so much. So yeah, your show, because you just did one, was it like last month in LA?
Yeah, I think it was, oh God, I can't remember. I think a few weeks ago at this point. Last
Okay.
month, yeah.
Was
What
that
day is it?
I don't know. I can't even believe it's going to be October soon. And I'm
That's
just
what I
like,
said.
what
Next week is
happens?
October.
It's weird.
It's
too
wild.
much.
Well, literally, I was just thinking today, I was like, yeah, I've been listening to Luna since the beginning of the year. And I'm like, no, I've been listening to Luna for like a year and
Yeah, it's been like a year.
close to 2 years now. And I'm like, oh, that went
Whoops.
fast.
Yeah,
But
it went by very fast.
yeah. But so was that your first show back?
That was, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Was that like super like surreal, I would imagine?
You know what? Inside before I played the show, I was like, oh my God, I'm probably gonna get emotional. It's gonna be weird, or I'm gonna be like super nervous. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. And it just like felt like riding a bike. I just like got on stage and was just like, it was like every time I perform, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be and doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So it felt like drinking a glass of water. Like it just went by so fast. And I was like, oh wow. Like, and it just hit me that like, you know, this is something that I'm supposed to be doing with my life, because if it feels like that, then that means I'm heading in the right direction.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love that.
But yeah, it was really fun and amazing. And everyone was so nice afterwards. Like I was literally standing around for like an hour and a half with like people waiting to talk to me, which was like, which is always so fun to know that you have that kind of impact on people. Especially to have like girls come up to me and be like, that was so badass. Like that was my favorite thing I've ever seen. It feels really good to be back at it. And I'll for sure be playing a lot more shows next year.
Yes. Good. Because that was my next question. What's on the horizon? Because I know you said you got shows, new music.
Yes. So my first single comes out October 22nd. And then I'll have another song come out shortly after, November, and then a new EP beginning of next year.
Yay. Oh, yes. I can't wait.
I'm really excited. I'm nervous because like obviously, I don't know, it's an artist thing, I guess, to be nervous about whether or not what you're going to put out next is going to be as good as what you've already done. But it's just like, I think that's something that a lot of artists go through. And I'm like, I'm nervous about it, but I'm really excited about the music. And I think people are really going to like it.
I think it's going to be fucking fire.
You're like, I don't care what it is. I could take a shit on a plate and you'd be like, give it to
me. There's some truth in what you just said. Well, because what I love about you as a fan that I can tell is you're very in tune with who you are. And whenever you're really in tune, it always plays through, and it's always going to be great after it.
Thank you.
So I'm not worried. I know it's going to be fucking fire. Like you said, I don't care if it's shit on a plate. It's going to be the best shit on the plate that this whole damn industry has probably seen. So it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be quite as aggressive as my last EP. I mean, my first single will be pretty aggressive, but the following songs I think are a little bit more. It's just a different, I guess, part of me. I dealt with a lot of obviously like depression and anxiety dealing with the pandemic the same way that I feel like a lot of people have, and found myself like self-medicating and being kind of in like a haze and not really like being in touch with reality and not being in a good place. And so I chose to write these songs that like somehow sound positive but are about very dark things. But I like it because I wanted to put a twist on it. I didn't want to just, write something that was like sounded aggressive and felt aggressive. I wanted something that told a story in an interesting way. And that's what this next EP is going to be. And I'm really excited about it.
Sounds great to me. I can't wait to hear it. Well, before I switch it over to Leah, because we do have some lightning round questions.
Oh, God. Okay.
Tell me where everybody can find you all the social plugs, please.
Yeah, no, definitely. I always like to lead people to my Spotify. You just look up Luna Aura, obviously. And then I'm pretty active on Instagram, and my tag is at it's Luna Aura. And then it's the same thing on TikTok as well.
Awesome. Leah, take it away.
All right. You already answered this kind of before we started recording, but you have to answer it again.
Okay.
Dog person or cat person?
Dog person.
Do you want to introduce the listeners to your dog behind you? Not that you can see her, but
this is Ziggy. Ziggy, say hi. She's like, I'm napping.
She's like, please don't bother me.
That's Ziggy. She's a muffin.
I love her.
She's so cute.
Definitely a dog person.
I love that. Next question, inspired by a conversation with my 4-year-old niece. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh my gosh, that's a great one. Pterodactyl for sure.
I feel like that's everyone's like first reaction, and that's
is pterodactyl?
That's like not what I think of when I think of dinosaurs.
What do you think
of? It's very
of?
interesting. I think.
Yeah,
of,
what do you think of?
Like Littlefoot from Land Before Time, like
the long neck dude.
Yeah,
prehistoric giraffe.
Petrie pterodactyl? Like a baby?
Yes. Pterodactyl.
Yeah, so pterodactyl all the way. I had a bird named Petrie when I was a kid.
Oh, that's cute.
But it was cute, but we had a fan on in the house, and I opened up the cage and it hit the fan and died.
Oh no.
No.
That's traumatizing.
Poor Petrie.
That's so sad.
I don't even know if I've even like processed it fully ever in my life. I'm gonna have like a therapy
Way
session
to go, Leah. Way to go, Leah.
I'm not the one who said pterodactyl.
Yeah, it's true. I brought it up. It's subconscious. See, I miss Petrie.
That makes sense then. If you could learn to play any instrument that you don't currently play, what would you choose?
Saxophone. I think saxophones are so cool. I just I was at Life is Beautiful this weekend and saw Haim, and they had a saxophone player come out.
Oh, that's sick.
Like, it was so awesome.
Like saxophones are making like a resurgence. They've been kind of everywhere lately, and I don't really understand why, but I like it.
Yeah, my sister played sax when she was in high school, and my mom would always call it a trumpet. So every time I see one, I'm like, oh, a trumpet.
Love that.
That's adorable. I like the sax answer.
Thanks.
Last question is one we ask everyone who comes on the show. If you could be a cereal, what would you be and why?
Oh my God. All right. So I can't stand cereal. I hate cereal with a passion.
First time we've ever gotten that reaction.
So
I don't know why. I have not had a bowl of cereal since I was like 14 years old. I'm not a big fan of cereal for some reason.
Choose a breakfast item.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Okay, could it any breakfast item? If I could be any breakfast item, I would be an Eggs Benedict.
Oh, fancy.
Really buttery, smooth, savory, delicious.
I love it.
The first anti-cereal fan.
Yeah, not a huge cereal fan, no.
That's all right.
Now you'll know what to send me for my birthday. Just a giant box of Fruit Loops.
I was about to say, I was like, Eggs Benedict would be hard to send through the mail, but I'll try it. I'll try.
That would be disgusting.
Especially because I live on the East Coast, so you know.
So it would take forever to get.
Good 2 weeks with the post office the way it is these days.
That's disgusting.
Oh God, that's great.
Well, this has been like so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been great.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Death of Fawn for our intro riff. You can visit our website at shioroku.com. There you can find links to our socials, the show notes, and you can reach out to us and contact us. And remember, don't do drugs.